So, hi everyone, a very good evening. Good evening, ma'am. Good evening to all participants.
Good evening.
Yeah. So, welcome to another session of A2 State Learning Hub. And our today's resource person, Dr. Shanji Verma. She's currently working as associate professor, the LJ School of Computer Applications, LJ University, Gujarat, Ahmedabad. So, with great pleasure, I would like to welcome each and every one of you for this 3 day session. So this session is very much a useful one for the participants, and we will cover all the aspects of data mining and the practical implementation using R programming. So during the session, you can interact with the resource person via chat box. We have already shared the installation procedure file and few data sets to the participants, which are going to be used during these 3 day session. So without much more delay, we can directly move to session. So also I would like to welcome each and every one of you for the session. So thank you everyone. Now over to Shanti ma'am, please.
Thank you, sir. I hope all the participants installed RStudio. If anyone not installed, then I am quickly brief about how to install R and RStudio in your laptop or desktop. So if means you require, then I will quickly share you the details about how to install. So I'm going to share
Ma'am,
my
ma'am, it's better to give a brief introduction about how to install, because some participants demanded the recordings, so they couldn't join the program. So it would be helpful
Okay.
to that participants also.
Okay,
Please.
okay. So my screen is visible?
Yeah, it's visible. Now
Okay,
yours,
okay.
not PPT. It's something like
Yeah.
yeah,
It's Chrome.
yeah. I think participants are all. Is it audible to everyone? Is there about the resource person's voice and everything? Uh, can someone put in the chat box? Yeah, it's fine. Okay, please.
Okay. So can I start, sir?
Yeah, please.
Okay. So basically for installing the RStudio, you first require to install R. Okay. So I am quickly brief you about how to install a R and RStudio. So you just go in a Chrome and just type install RStudio. Okay. So these are the basically sources. These are the authentic sources to install the R and RStudio. So I just click in this RStudio. So here you see that there is a two-step process that you have to first install the R and then install the RStudio. Okay. So first you have to download the exe file for R and it download the compatible version of the RStudio, because in R there is a version problem. So it might be it is quite beneficial that you install R and RStudio in a one attack. Okay. So first you have to install this R. So I am using the Windows. So I go to download R for Windows and install R for the first time. Okay. Now it gives you the version that is the R 4.4.0 for the Windows. You have to click on this. It is showing that downloading the exe file for the R. Okay. Now you can also download the exe file for the RStudio. So you have to download, click on the download RStudio. It's downloading the RStudio exe file also. But you have to make sure that you have to first complete the installation process of the R, then RStudio. Okay. So in my system, the R is already installed. So I'm not going to install again, but I'm showing all the steps to install R and RStudio. Okay. So I'm waiting to install. If there is any difficulty, you can share me in the chat box. Okay.
Ma'am,
Actually, there is a question that why two files are required, R and R Studio. Basically, R Studio is a GUI version of R. Okay, so if you are familiar with the R and you want to work with the command line arguments and command line means instructions, you can use R also. But R Studio is a quite familiar because it's a total GUI version. But that is totally dependent on the R. That's why we require to first install R and then R Studio. Yes, sir. What you are telling?
nothing, ma'am. Please proceed.
Okay. Okay. So you can see that these two files are already means downloaded. Now I first open this R to install. I go in the download folder, and here I have to double click on the first in the R. Okay, this is the exe executable file, and it is used to download all the necessary files required to run the R on your operating system. Okay, so you can see this setup is started. In this setup, you have to choose your language. That is you want to use English or you want to use any other language for setup. So this is the select the language. I choose this English language. Now this is an agreement between you and this software that you accept all the means agreement policies of this software for using this. So I have to agree, and then you have to choose the folder where you want to install. So basically by default, it creates a one folder R in a program files of your system, and then download the required version. You can change this also. Now this is my system is a 64-bit installation, Windows 64-bit installation. See, so it is installed all the mail files, 64-bit files, and the message translations files. So I have to click on next. So you have to specify, do you want to customize the startup options? Default options are quite good. So we don't want to customize. So I click on no. Then here means in the start menu, what in which name this is create means showing. So here is a R. You can change also the name, and if you want to create, don't want to create a folder, then you have to click here. Now here we create a desktop shortcut, versions files, R files means history files are stored. So I have to click on this, and this R is installed. Okay. When this installation gets complete, after that you have to run the RStudio installation file. And in R, there is a means quite big problem of the versions, because if R is a R version is a 4.4, but RStudio version is a different, then they are not supported. So we have to means quite check that which versions we are using for R and R Studio. Okay. Now the installation of the R is completed. I want to now install the R Studio, that is the GUI version. Okay, so I double click on this R Studio exe file that we downloaded previously. And these both are the separate software. Okay, these are not, means these are dependent, but these both are software. If you want to work in R, you can work in R also. And if you don't want to work in a CUI based environment and want to work in GUI, you can work in GUI. That is up to you. Okay, so in my system, this R Studio is currently running. So that's why the system is telling that I have to first close and then install the new version. So I just close. Okay. So it's showing that R is currently running. You can just double click and means next and install the R Studio. I think there is already a version is installed in my system. So that's why this is not giving me permission to install me again. Okay. So means any participant has problem in opening the R Studio. If there is any problem, you can share your screen as well as post in a chat box. Because in my system it is already installed. That's why I'm not able to show you the installation procedure of the R Studio. But you have to just click next to install the R Studio. Okay. And after installing R Studio, you can search in your taskbar and you can see that there is a R Studio app is already installed. Okay. And you have to just open the R Studio. If any participant has problem, you can tell me or share me your screen if there is a problem in the installation of R Studio. Okay, so this type of environment you can see when you open this R Studio. Okay, everyone is with me. Everyone install this R Studio. because we have to take the hands-on experience on the working in the R studio for performing the data mining. So I hope everyone install this R studio. Okay. Now I want to cover some basics of the data mining first, and then go with the hands-on part of the data mining. Okay. So first I want to share you some basic knowledge about data mining. What is data mining? Why data mining is used? And what are the different benefits of data mining? And what are the steps we have to perform when we are performing the data mining? Okay. My screen is visible, this PPT. Everyone? Okay. One. Okay, so first, what do you mean by the mining? Okay, so we heard this term mining basically in the whole industry where you have to find some precious thing from the soil. Okay, so we know that there are lots of data nowadays. Okay, so when we are there is exponential growth in the
Ma'am, can you please put it in the presentation view?
one second. Is it visible, sir?
Yeah, fine.
Okay, okay. So, why there is a need of the data mining, and why in current time there is a lots of the data mining techniques are used in every sector. Okay, either it's a in the automotive sector, either it's a bioinformatics sector, either it's a geographical information system. Everywhere there is a need of the data mining. Okay, so there is a need of data mining because there are lots of the exponential growth in the data set. Okay, and when there are lots of the data set and we want to find some meaningful from the data set, or we want to find some precious knowledge from the data set, then it is difficult. Okay, so to find the precious knowledge from the data that we already have, and that is not known to anyone before that, for that, we require to use some data mining techniques. Okay, there are lots of the tools that are used for the data mining. In industry, mostly the Python is also used for the data mining. There are some GUI tools that are used for performing the data mining, like Weka, Orange. These are the different tools available. But to do the insights view of the data and to perform every steps of the data and quite visible all the data set to you, and getting the good information about the data and the knowledge derived from the data set, we require to do the hard code. That's why we are using a programming language also. But for the management persons, if you are a management person and you want to use data mining and you don't know about the coding and all that, in that case, there are some visualization tools available like Orange and Weka that directly takes your data and performs the data mining. Okay, so these both the options are available with you. If you want to code, then you can code. Otherwise, you can use different tools that are only visualization. So, okay. So we know that in every domains like in business, science, and society, there are lots of the data available, and there are we are means there is exponential growth of data, but there is a problem that we cannot find some knowledge from the data set. So there is a need of the data mining techniques that are performed on the massive data sets and to gain the knowledge from the data set. Okay. So, what is data mining? If I told you that that is a knowledge discovery from the data. Okay. So we have data and we want to derive some knowledge from the data set, but there is a three things. One is data, one is information, and one is knowledge. Okay. So we know that there is the raw fact and figures that we collect from any industry, that is called as data set. Okay. And the processed data is called as the information. For example, if we gather two numbers and we want to perform addition of that number, then the result of the addition is a information. But if we use that information to derive some decision making skills, or to means predict some values, in that case we are deriving knowledge from the information. Okay, so this is the one type of hierarchy. First we have data, then we have to derive information from the data, and after that we have to derive knowledge from the information. Okay, so if we want to derive knowledge, what are the different properties we want in the knowledge? That knowledge is implicit, previously unknown, and potentially useful for the society. It might be possible that you derive one knowledge that is previously exist, and if that is already exists, there is no need of data mining. If the knowledge you derive from the data that is not known to anyone till now, it means that you are using a data. Okay. So what are the different names that are used in the industries for data mining, like knowledge discovery, knowledge extraction, pattern analysis, data grabbing, information harvesting, business intelligence. These are the different names that we can use for the data mining. Okay. So this is very important, that what are the steps that we are using to derive our knowledge from the data set. Okay. So if I told about where the data is exist nowadays. So we know that there are two types of data in nowadays. One is a centralized databases, and other than is a decentralized, or we can use the data set in the form of the IoT sensors, the data set in the forms of the some devices that we store the data set that are not centralized or decentralized databases. So either the data is in a file, or in a folder, or in the system, or in a hard drive, or in a database. Every storage devices we have the data. Okay. So but the problem is that for data mining we require lots of data. Okay, huge amount of data. And if we talk about any industry, that we can know that in industry there are lots of the departments. Okay, and every department are interrelated to each other. So in company there is not one database, there are lots of the databases of every department. Okay, so the first process is we have to store the data in a databases. Okay, then we have to perform the data integration. Okay, what do you mean by integration? It might be possible one department is using a SQL database and second department is using a MongoDB. Okay, but that is a another structure of the database. So when we integrate these two types of the data set in one, then it might be possible that the structure of both the databases are different. And in that case, you have to integrate data in that way that the structure of the data is not changed and the data is also not changed. So we require a data integration. Okay. And also it might be possible that there are some human errors or some technical errors when we are storing the data set. So we require to clean the data set before using. Okay. Then it might be possible that data is huge. Then we have to extract some data that are not quite used every time, and that data is stored in a data warehouses. Then we have to select the data set that we require currently, that are called as a task relevant data set, and on that data set we have to perform the data mining. This steps data warehousing is used in a big companies where they can afford the cost of the data warehouse. As the data warehouse cost is very high, every company cannot afford this data warehouse, so they directly clean the data sets and select their data set that they have to use for their task and perform the data mine. So this data warehousing is optional. It depends on the company strategy, company management, that they want to store data in data warehouse or not. But when we are means doing in a practical purpose, we just take a data from databases or files, clean the data set and find the task relevant data set and apply the data mining techniques. And on the basis of the data mining techniques, we evaluate, we get some patterns on the data set, and that patterns are used for decision making in a company, and that rules or that decisions are called as a knowledge. Okay, so these are the steps that we use when we are going to perform the data mining. So what is our first step? We want a data set either in the form of the databases or in the form of the files. Then we have to clean the data sets if required. If data is already clean, there is no need of the data clean. But in real life, if I talk about the data, there is no data set available that is clean. Okay, so we require either less or either more, but we require a data clean. Okay, so these are the steps. If there is any problem in this steps, let me know. And after that, we are using the R to extract the data set from the files and then performing the data cleaning on the data sets. Okay. Okay, example system for we are doing a live example. We are taking a one data set. We first find out that data is a clean or not, and if there is any discrepancy in the data set, then we do the data cleaning. Both for the categorical data set and for the quantitative data set, because for two different type of data set, two different techniques are used for the cleaning. Okay. So can we start with the R to perform the data cleaning? So everyone please start your R Studio. Okay. And I am going to share you one file because we required a file that have some missing values or some data cleaning, then we can perform a data cleaning. Okay. So I think hope you all have some files, Excel files that are already shared. I share you one more file, that is a CSV file. Mostly for practical purpose, we are using a CSV file. We can also use Excel files. Okay. But the CSV files has means the data size that has less as compared to the Excel file. That's why we are using mostly the CSV files. Okay, I share you one CSV file, that is a sales data.csv. Okay, please download this file because in this file there are both qualitative and quantitative data set, and we perform both type of cleaning for the quantitative and qualitative data set. Okay, so I hope everyone get this. Now this is our environment. Okay, so first let's understand what is this environment and what are these different components and different windows of our studio. Okay, so you can see this is a first window. You can increase or decrease the size of the windows as per your requirement. Okay, so in this we are going to write our script. Okay, so what do you mean by script? A script is nothing, just a sequence of commands. Okay, so we are we have to perform a sequence of command. If the sequence is not correct, then our script file is not run. Okay, so we have to maintain the sequence first. Okay, this is basically console. You can see this prompt where you get the output of your script. Okay, after running, if there is error, you can get error. If there is no error, then you get the output of the script in this window. Okay, this is the console where there is the environment, history, connections, everything. So basically, what are the different variables you are declaring, that is maintained here? What are the different steps you are performing, that are maintained in a history? Okay, so everything is maintained here. Okay, and if you are doing any type of plotting, that plots are shown here. And for data mining, you require different types of libraries of R. So for installing this library, you require this this packages tab, where if you are connected with Wi-Fi, you can directly install from the internet. And if you want to update the version of that package, you can update also. And if you know any command and you want to help about that command, how that command is used, you can use this help. Okay. So we are using, if we required all the things. Okay. R and R Studio is different in environment. Okay. R is basically a CUI based, that is a command line user interface. Okay. But this R Studio is a GUI. You can see this is a GUI. In R, you can do a one single command in one step, one type. You cannot perform a sequence of steps in a single attempt. One by one, you have to perform. So there is a difficulty to understand. Okay. But in R Studio, you are quite familiar like doing a programming. Means sequence of steps are performing and you run the whole script in one attempt. That's why we are mostly using the R Studio. But we can say that you can also use R. Means there is a it is not true that we can only do with R Studio. You can do with R also. Okay, for example, Unix and Windows. Unix is basically a CUI based. That's why mostly are not using this operating system because that is not user friendly. But Windows is user friendly. That's why mostly people are using. Similarly, R is not mostly user friendly. That's why. Yeah, preface is also a different. Okay, so let's begin with the first step to how to extract CSV file data in a R. Okay, or how to load the data. Okay, so the first step is we required a data that is available with our CSV file, and we want to load that data set in R to perform the further steps. Okay, so we know that what is our file format. The file format is a CSV. Okay, so CSV is a comma separated value files. So for that, there is a one function that is a read.csv. So read.csv is a method that is used to read any CSV file. Okay, but you have to give the path of the file. Okay, so for example, if I want to extract the whole data of the CSV file in a one variable, because we required a one variable to hold the data set. Okay, so for example, I take a one variable data, okay, equal to, then I have to write the method. The method is a read.csv. You find out what you have to pass in the read.csv. You have to find first pass the file name. Then if there is a CSV file, there is a header, means the first rows are given, that like name, enrollment number and all that. Then you have to give the header. You must remember that this file is only a component that you have to give compulsory. Rest all components are the optional component. Okay, so here you have to pass the file name. Okay, so what you have to do to pass the file name, you have to first make a double quotes, and in this double quotes you have to pass the file name. Okay, the file name with the whole path. So what you can do for same, for example, if this file I want to download, means extract in R, this car price assignment that is already given to you. Okay, so I have to just right click and go to the properties. Here you can see that this path is given, this location, D drive, R studio, R workshop. Okay, so I have to just copy this location, go in the R and just paste it. Okay, after that you have to pass your file name also. So if you are quite aware that you don't have any spelling mistakes, then it's okay, because one space is also counted. If there you put a one space, then file is not readable. So you just copy this file name, go to RStudio, and then give the file, and you have to also give the extension. Okay, the extension is a CSV. Okay, now these slashes are not working in our RStudio, so you have to convert these slashes into this double slashes. Okay, now if I want to print that my data is loaded in a variable or not, I can write this print and data. Okay, now you can see this file name is untitled1. I want to save this file, so I save as. You have to choose the location. And you don't have to choose the save type. Save the file .r. Okay, so I give the name 1, so save the file 1.r. Now, I want to check that my data that is available in a car price assignment.csv is available in RStudio or not. Okay. So, you can select this whole script and press the run. Okay. You can see here that all data is readable. Everyone done this? You can choose any file, okay? Everyone done this? The data is available to you. Because if this process is not done, we cannot do anything. To perform the data mining, we require first data. Okay. So if data is available to you, you can check first that is there is any missing value in data or not. So here, missing values are called null values. Okay. So null values are represented by the NA. So for making the comment, you can use the hash. So I want to search missing values. Okay. So for finding the missing values, you can first find is there is a null values in data or not, and if yes, then how many? You have to do the sum of the null values also. So first, to finding that is there is any null values or not, there is a method is.na. Okay, this is.na method is used to check there is a null value or not, and it gives you a result in the form of the true and false. If there is a null value, it gives you an output true, and if not, it gives you output false. Okay, so you have to pass data. Okay, now you also have to do the sum of null values. So you have to write sum method. It provide you a sum values that is available in a data set. All the sum means in every column, in every rows. Now you want to print. So you can pass this in a print method. Okay. Now, if you want to run this only line, you can prompt your cursor into this line, this fourth line, and put run. You can see result as 0. It means there is no missing values in a data set. Means data is clear. Okay. Yes, you are getting error. Is error solved or not? Can I put this in a chat box? Please put your file in a short path, not in a directly with the downloads. Okay, you can directly put in a C drive or D drive, so that you can at least get a result fast. Please check with this code. Everyone done with if there is a missing value or not? So you have to just remember that is.na is a method that is used to check there is a missing value or not. If you want to find the sum, then you have to pass this in a sum method. And as this is a script you want to print, then you have to pass this in a print. Okay. Is error solved, sir? Okay. So now, in this file, there is a no missing value, so we cannot perform the data clean. For that, I share you a one file that is a salesdata.csv. In that, there is a lots of the missing values, and we can perform the data cleaning in that file. Okay. So let's start a new script. So you can see that there is a new file. Okay. You have to just click on the new file and you have to open the new script. Okay. So this is a new script because I want to load the new data set. So I open this new script. Okay. Now this sales data is also available in this folder. Okay. This sales data.csv. So I can copy this and paste in the new script and change the file name. So my file name is a sales data. Please make sure that there is a no spelling mistakes. There are no spaces in the file name. If there is a spaces, then you are getting error to load the file. Okay, this is a sales data. Now, you can know that in the previous script, I also use a variable data. In this script, I also use a variable data. Then in the history, you cannot find out which data or variable is now using. So for that, it is beneficial that you can change the name of the variables. For example, if I change the name of the variable my date. Okay. Now, we also see that we can pass some different parameters in the read.csv like header, the type of the file, the separator. In the read.csv, means comma separated value, means the separator is a comma. Means to divide the data in the form of the columns, we can use the separator as a comma. Okay. So in sales data.csv file, basically, there are lots of the string values are available, means categorical values are available. Okay. So we want that these string values are considered for further means data analysis. For that, there is a one parameter that is a string as factors. Okay. So we have to use this string as factors value in our file. Now, you can use this string as factors equal to true. It makes that every column where there is a string file that is considered as a vector or factor. Okay. Now, if I run this code, you can check that the file is loaded or not. You can see this file is loaded and the whole data is printed. Okay. And you can see there are lots of the categorical values are there. Okay. Now you can see this one. NA. Okay. What is this meaning? It means there are some null values in the data set. Okay. Please look for the data set, because we have to first understand what the data is. After that, we have to use the data by. Okay. Now, if there is a lots of data with you and you don't want to uh, uh, replace the missing values, but you want to omit or delete the missing values from the data, then there are two options. Either you omit the data set, okay, or either you replace the missing values. So first we have to check, is there is a missing values or not. So I have to write print then sum is dot na, and I have to pass my variable, that is mine. Okay. Now if I run this, you can see that there are 10 missing values. In the previous file, we get 0. Means data is clean. In that file, you can see that the sum of the missing values is 10. It means there are 10 missing values. So before performing data mining, you have to first perform the data cleaning. This sales data.csv file I share you in a Zoom chat. Okay, please use that file. I already share in a Zoom chat. Can I share you again? Okay, I share you again. Okay. Now you get it. Okay. So you can see that there are 10 missing values. So we have to do the data cleaning. Okay. So there are two options in data cleaning. Either you delete these 10 records. Okay. But it not delete the 10 values. It deletes the 10 records. Okay. 10 customer records. So if you are agree with that, you can delete. But if your manager says that every customer data is important to you and you cannot delete any data set because data is very precious. So in that case, we have to replace the missing values. Okay. So in data cleaning, either we delete the missing values, either we replace the missing values. Okay. So first we have to perform how to delete the missing values. Okay. So for deleting the missing values, there is a one method, that is na. There is a one method na dot omit. Okay. This na dot omit method is used to remove the missing records from the data sets. Okay. So this na dot omit, and I have to pass my data. If you want to store that omit data in a new variable, you can also store. Okay. So if you want to store, then I can store clean data. Okay. Now I want to print that is there is any missing values in the clean data or not. So I have to write print sum is dot na and clean data. Okay. So in this, we get the 10 missing values. Now we have to check there is a missing value or not. So I run these two lines. You can see that 0 missing values. Means this 10 data is removed from my original data set. And now my data set has 0 missing values. Understand? This is the one option. Okay. If you want to find out that what is the dimension of data set, dimension means how many number of columns and rows are in a data set, then you can also do that. So for that, you have to write print dimension, dim is a variable name, and you have to pass your variable. So if I run this, you can see there is a 660 rows and 12 columns in a data set. So this dim method is used to find out the dimension of the data set, means number of rows and numbers of columns in a data set. Okay. So I tried one thing that how to remove the missing values from the data set. But if I don't choose this option and I want to replace the missing values, okay. So again, there is a question: what type of values I have? Is I have the quantitative values or I have the categorical values? Because the name is not replaced by another name, because that is a categorical. But if there is an age column, then age is replaced by the mean of age or the median of age or the mode of age. We can replace easily by any mathematical or statistical factor. But for the categorical value, that method is not used. Okay, so we have to find out what are the different columns where you have the missing values. And on the basis of the type of the column, you have to identify what methods we can use for replacing the missing values. Okay. So if you want to delete, there is a no means difficulty, you can directly delete. But for replacing, you have to think that what is the type of data, and on the basis of the type of data, you have to decide what type of methods you are using for replacing the missing values. Okay. So now we are going to replace the missing values. Okay. So you can see that in my data variable, there is a missing values available, but in the clean data, there is a no missing value available. So for replacing the missing value, I have to use this variable, my data. Okay. So now, how to replace the missing values or check the data types of the variable? Because I already told you that if you don't know what are the data types, means categorical data or numerical data you have, then there is a difficulty. Okay. So for that, you can write print str and my data. It gives you the details about what are the different columns you have and what are the data types of each columns. Okay. So I just run this. You can see that this is a data frame having 670 observations of 12 variables. Means there are 12 columns and 670 rows. The first column name is order.date, and that data type is a factor. Second is a order.priority, that is a factor. Means it's a one type of strings. Order.quantity, this is an integer. Sales, it's a number. Shipping mode is a factor. Then profit is a numerical. Customer name is a factor. So if you get a missing value in a factor, then you have to change your replacing method. Okay. And you can also get where you get the null values. You can see that in the company, there is some null values available. Okay. So you have to use this str method to find out what are the data types of each column. Okay. Now, if you want to find out the summary, means mean, mode, median of every columns available in the data set, then you have to write print summary. Summary is a method that gives you the summary of the data set, and you have to use mine. Okay. Now, if I run, you can see that it gives you a summary. What summary means? Summary means minimum value, first quartile value, median value, mean value, third quartile value, maximum values, and NA values. It gives you the details. Okay. So in the first column, you can see that in order dot date, there is a no null values. Okay. In order dot priority, you can see that there is a NA's values. In order dot quantity, you can see that there is a two null values. In sales, you can see that there is a one null values. In shipping mode, you can see there is a two null values. So you can replace these null values on the basis of the data type and on the basis of the summary available with you. Okay. Everyone understand how to read these results? You can easily find out what are the different columns where you get the missing values. Because if there in one column there is a no missing values, you don't want to replace the missing value. Okay. Now again, for replacing the missing values where you have a number or integer, in that case, this is your choice that you want to use a mean or mode or median. This is your choice. Okay. So now I want to replace the missing values where there is a integer values with mean. Okay. So how to do that? We have to first understand. Okay. So for example, if you see that in order dot quantity sales, okay, you get a one missing value. So how to replace this one missing value with any number or the mean or the median? You can see that this is a numerical value. So we can directly replace this with either mean or mode or median. Okay. Okay. So how to replace any missing value? So first, I have to understand how I can access any one column from the data. So if you want to access one column from the data set, then you have to write print, then variable where you get your whole data. For example, my variable is a my data, and you have to use a dollar. Okay. You can see after putting dollar, all the columns available with this my data is available to you. Okay. Now, if you want to access a column sales, then you have to select sales. Now, if I print only this line, you can see that this only sales column is printed. only sales. Okay. So in this way, you can extract only one column from the data set. Because we have to perform column-wise data replacing, so we have to understand how to extract the one column. Okay. Now, how to replace the missing values? So first, I have to check if there is a missing value. Then replace the missing value replace the missing value with mean of rest of the values available in that column. Okay. So for example, I want to replace the missing values of sales column. So my variable name is my data. So I have to write my data $sales. First, I have to check is there is a missing value or not. For that, I have to use is.nmi. Okay, this gives you that there is any missing value in a sales column or not. If there is any missing value, then what I have to do? I have to replace that value with me. But which values mean? The sales column values means. So I have to write my data $sales. But you also know that in sales column there is a null value. And if there is any one null value in a data set, we cannot find out the mean. So we have to remove the null, and after that we have to find the mean. Okay. For that, I have to write na.rm equal to 2. na.remove equal to 2. Means you have to find out mean, but after removing the null values from the sales column. And replace that mean values in a sales column where there is a null value. Okay. Now, I have to check that in sales column, null value is removed or not. So I have to write again this summary. Okay. To check the missing value is removed or not. So I write it again. Now, if I run these two lines, first, there is a no output because there is a no print statement. Okay. Now, if I run this print and check the output, you can see in sales column, there is a no null value. In previous result, if you look, in sales, there is a one null value. Okay. So you can see this one null values of sales column is removed and replaced with the mean. Means now this sales column has no missing values. Understand? If any doubt, you can ask. Okay. This is only used for numerical data. Okay. We cannot calculate mean of any categorical data. So, for example, if we get null values in a name column, we cannot use this mean. Okay. Now, if you don't want to replace the missing value with mean, you can also use with median. So, in that case, you can use median here, median map. Okay, it is your choice that which averaging method you can use. And you can use either mean, either mode, either median. That is your choice. Okay. Now there are many more columns having this uh, null value, so we can replace in the same way like the profit and the unit price also have the null values. So you have to just change the column name and use same thing to replace the missing values. And if you want to replace one column by mean, one column by median, one column by mode, then you can also do that. Now, if you want to check the sum of the missing values, then you can also check. Now, if I run this code, you can see that there are total 5 missing values. There are total 10 missing values in my data, but the 5 missing values are replaced by the mean of columns, sales, profit, and unit price. Rest, there is also 5 missing values available. But these 5 values are the categorical values. Okay. So for replacing the categorical values, we cannot use any numerical method like mean, mode, and median. Everyone done with this? Any problem in this? Do you want I share this script in Zoom? Okay, not a problem. Do you are able to replace a missing value by mean of one column sales? I share you in a Zoom that how to replace missing values of columns by mean. And you cannot replace a whole data mean to any value because you have to replace the missing value by a column only. So if there are 10 columns and there are 10 missing values, one missing values in each column, so you have to write this 10 times. Okay. And please remember this. This is only for the quantitative data set, not for the categorical data set. And you can see that in our data set, 5 values are still there that we have to replace. Okay, I can share whole script. Okay. Can I move forward for the categorical values? Okay. So you can see that there are still 5 missing values in our data set. But these 5 missing values are categorical values that are existing in a column like shipping mode, order priority, high, low, medium. These type of values are there. Okay. So for replacing the categorical values, we have to first find out what are the different values existing in a particular column. For example, in a priority column, there is a 3 values, 4 values, 5 values. How many values are there and what are that values? Like high, low, medium, less, high, moderate. What are these values? Okay. So for that, there is a one method that is labels. Okay. This labels. This labels method is used to find out what are the different categorical values in a particular column. Okay. So for example, if my column name is order dot priority, then I have to pass out my data $order dot priority to find out what are the different values. Okay. For example, if I write here print labels my data $order dot priority. Okay. So what is the result of this? You can see these are the different values like critical, high, low, L, low, W, double W, medium, not specified. These are the different values existing in a column order dot priority. Now, to replace the missing value, we have to replace the missing value by any of these values. Okay, either you can replace with critical, either you can replace with high, either you can replace with low. Okay, but we can do that. We perform a sampling, and on the basis of the random sampling, the result what we get, we can replace the value with those values. Okay, for that you can see that the sample method is used. Okay, so what is the sample method? Sample method is used to perform a random sampling. Okay, so in the random sampling, we first find out what are the different values. Okay, and what are the size of the data. Okay, so for finding the size of the data, you have to find out what are the different null values in the data set. For example, if you have a 2 null values, you have to replace 2 values. If there are 3 missing values, you have to replace 3 missing values. So how many values you want to replace, you have to find out. For that, we can write that size equal to sum is dot na, that is my data $order dot priority. Okay, and then we have to means pass argument replace equal to true, and we have to replace that value where you get any missing values in a column order dot priority. So I first post this first line so that you can at least understand. I again explain you what I am doing. So you can see in chat that there is a one column order dot priority having categorical values, and there are some missing values in the data set. We want to replace these missing values from any random sample values that are previously existing in our data set, because we cannot replace any values that are not existing in a data set. For that, this sample method is used for random sampling. this label method is used to get how many categorical values we have and what are that names. And this size is used to find out how many values you want to replace. And you want to replace that value, so we have to pass argument replace equal to 2. Okay, understand? Now, if I run this one line, okay, there is a no print, so we cannot get any output. Now, if I want to check that is still there is any null values in order dot priority, so I have to write print sum is dot na, and I have to pass my column name, my data, dollar, order dot priority. Okay. Now, if I run this, you can see that there is a no missing values now available in order dot priority. Okay. Understand? Now, if I want to check how many missing values is still available with my data set, because previously we see that there are 5 missing values we have in a data set. Now, if I check, then you see that we get 3. It means there are 2 missing values in order dot priority, and still 3 values are left, means that are available in another columns. So what are that columns? We can easily find with the summary. In summary, we already see that there is a missing values in a shipping mode, missing value in a customer name. So similarly, we can do replace the shipping mode and customer name with a random sample. Okay, so I have to just change my variable name. Same you have to write that we do for the order dot priority, but you have to just change the column name. Okay. Now, if I want to check still there is a missing value or not, so I have to again do this. Now, if I run, you can see that there is a 0 missing value. Means all the missing values are now removed, not removed, replaced. And this process is called as data cleaning. Again, there is some data cleaning available, means we can do. Like if you can see that in order dot priority, you get two spellings of low. This is a human error. You can change this low with this LO double W with LO double. That is also a data cleaning part. If you find there is any type of spelling mistake, there are any type of the means unwanted spaces in the data set, that comes also under the data cleaning. Everyone done this? please do with me. If you find any error, you can share your screen so I can maybe come up with solution. Because it's require a practice. If you do a practice with the different data sets, means if you are doing one time, you are not get expertise. But you are doing, if you are doing with the 2, 3, 4, 5 different data sets, you can understand then how you can do this. Because if the data is changed, if the number of columns are changed, if the data types are changed, then these same steps are not repeated. It means that for every data, you required a different step to do the data cleaning or data mining. Okay. Now, I want to replace this low, L-O-double-W with low, because I know that this is an error and this is a human error, and I want to replace the values. So how I can do? I can know that there is a problem in a column order dot here. I already know the name of the column. So I have to just replace. So how to replace? Okay. So I know that there is a column data order dot purity that is available with my variable my data. Okay. And if you find that my data dollar order purity equal low, means this is a string matching. Okay. If you find anywhere order dot purity value is LOWW, I have to replace that value with LOW low. So this is a just string replacement. Okay. You have to check that is there is a LOWW value. If this value is existing, you have to just replace that value with low. But you have to do one more thing, that the number of labels, if you find out in order dot priority previously, that how many number of labels, that is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 number of labels are there. Now, if I replace this LOWW with LOW, then you have to also drop the number of labels, because the number of labels are now less as compared to the previous one. For that, you have to use this method drop labels. Okay. So if you are doing this type of the string manipulation or string replacement, then you have to also drop the number of labels in a particular column. Okay. So if I run this, there is a no print, so we cannot see any output. Now, if I print how many number of labels in a data set after replacement, you can see critical, high, low, medium, not specified. So you can see that number of labels are dropped. Okay. Understand everyone? Okay. Now we want to cover some diagrammatical for the visualization part. How to check that data is clean or not, data is normalized or not. So what do we mean by normalization? That you get a bell-shaped curve from the data set. If you don't get the bell-shaped curve, then it might be possible that data is not ready for data mining. We can check with the visualization. Also, we have to check that is there is any outliers in data or not. So for finding the outlier, we can use a box plot. So there is a box plot available that is used to identify the outliers in a data set that data visualize. Okay, so we can draw a to check that the particular data is correct or not and ready for the data mining or not. Okay, so for example, if I want to draw uh, a box plot, okay, for any column or a bar plot of any column. So first, what I have to use, I have to first, this is optional. I have to first set up my area. So here I set my plot area, that is a 1 by 1 plot, that is a 1 inch by 1 inch. And I have to plot the bar chart for column order dot priority. And I have to plot the summary. Summary means the minimum value, maximum value, first quartile, median. These values I have to plot. Okay, so I have to check that in order dot priority there is any outlier existing or not. So if I run this code, you can see this chart is coming. You can see. You can also zoom this. Understand? Vertical, high, low, medium, not specified. That are the different levels. Okay. And this is a bar plot. In the bar plot, we get the labels in the x-axis and the frequency of values of a particular label in a y-axis. Understand? Okay. When we are not performing the replacement, then what is there? For example, we are not drop the label, and before that, we are plotting this bar chart. Okay, here. So this variable is changed. So you cannot check the changes. But when we are not replacing the value, you can get the more number of bars. Okay. Now I have to check that my data is normalized or not. Means the data range is divided in a -1 to +1 or -1 to 0. Because if the data is not normalized, we cannot get the good results of the data mining or any analysis. Okay, so we have to check that data is normal or not, and for that we have to check that our data follows a bell-shaped curve. But that is only possible if we have the numerical data set. If we don't have the numerical data set, we cannot check the data is normalized or not normalized. Okay. So to check that data is normalized or not normalized, we can draw a bar chart or a histogram of the data set to check this. Okay. So for example, if I take any column uh, and find out that data is normal or not normal, so we have to basically use a one method that is called Z-score. So if you understand about Z-score, there is a two method for standardize the numerical values. One is called as Z-score and second is called as min-max values. Okay. So if for Z-scores, basically there is a formula that x bar minus mu divided by sigma. That is a x bar is a mean, mu is a population mean, and sigma is a population standard deviation. So this is a formula. So on the basis of that formula, we have to convert the numerical values into a z-scores. Okay, so this z-scores converts all the numerical values into -1 to +1, or the range we have to give. So for that, and this what we have to when we have to do when there is a the range of data is very high. So we have to convert the data into a short range. That's why we require a normalization. Okay. So for example, if you want to normalize any column, so for that we require one method that is called as scale. Okay? So scale method is used to normalize data set using the z-scores. So for example, if I use a one column that is a sales. So here my variable name is my data and I want to use the column sales. Okay. Now I have to use a method scale, and in that scale I have to pass the column that we want to normalize, and we want to normalize data set with the center point. Center means mean. Okay, so the area distribution of the data with mean is a symmetric. Means the data set that exists less than mean and greater than mean, both are same. And if the data set follow this type of distribution, that is called as normal distribution. Otherwise, there is a skewness. Either positive side is more or negative side is more, then there is a skewness. Okay. So for normalizing, we have to pass center equal to true and scale equal to true. Okay. Now, if I run this, okay, so my data is now converted into a normalized values. Now, if I print my data dollar sales, and run this, you can get this is a these all values are between -1 to +1. It might be possible the scale is between -3 to +3 or -2 to +2. It depends. Okay. But mostly if we are converting the data into a normal form, it converts into a -1 to +1. Okay. Now, if I want to plot any graph for my scaled values, like if I want to plot a histogram, you can see this histogram is plotted. Okay. If you want to save this plot into a JPG file, you can save image as. Okay, and you can save this image in your drive anywhere. Okay, and you can reuse this. Understand? Now, if you want to find out relationship between two variables, for example, if you want to find out the correlation values of any two variables, for example, sales and the shipping mode, or the sales and any other columns, then you can also find the correlation. Okay. So the basically correlation is here is correlation is the Pearson correlation coefficient, and the value of the correlation is exists between -1 to +1. Okay, so, for example, if you want to find out the correlation between shipping and quantity, okay, shipping cost and the quantity. So there is a one method correlation. Okay, COR. It gives you a numerical value of what is a correlation, how much correlation between these two values. Okay. So if you run this, you can see the correlation value is minus 0.010. So you can see that there is a very negative correlation between the shipping cost and the other quantity. Okay. And if you want to plot the chart like a scatter plot to show the relationship graphically, then you can also do this, and for that you have to use the method plot. Okay, so the plot method is used to for the scatter chart, and you have to pass two variables, because for correlation we require at least two variables. Okay, now if I run this, you can see this is scatter chart is plotted. Okay, this is the scatter plot. And these are the by default things. We can also modify this, that I cover in the next day. Okay. So, but these are the different types of the basic plot that is used for understanding the data sets. So what is a data set? That data set is ready to use for the data mining or not? Because if the data set is not ready for data mining and you perform a data mining, then the whole process is getting waste, because you are not able to find out any unknown knowledge from the data set. So this is required that you have to first understand the data and what are the different columns that are most important for performing the analysis, and after that you have to apply the data mining techniques. If there is any doubt, you can ask, please. These are the graphs you can able to make or not. If not, I can share you again the whole script so that you can able to do. Okay, this will be Okay. I hope everyone is able to perform all these. You can also, yes, actually, if, for example, what is the necessity of for normalization? Basically, if the data set is not normalized, it might be possible there are some outliers in the data set. And if you restrict the range of the data set, you can accommodate all the data that are available with you. For example, if you are gathering data for age column, okay, and you are finding one age that is a 10110. It might be possible that 110 is a true one, but it seems to be outlier for your data set. But if you change the range of your data set and normalize the data set, you can accommodate this data set also. And if you are not doing normalization, you are restricted to adopt this data as an outlier. But that is not true. In that case, the normalization is required. And also, mostly researchers are saying that if data set is not normal in nature, then the results of the analysis are not good enough to explain. Okay, so that's why mostly when the data is very big, the range of the data set is very large. In that case, mostly people are using the normalization. Again, this is not a compulsory steps. It depends on you. You want to normalize or not normalize. If your data set gives you a good result, not doing the normalization, you can not use normalization. Okay. And any more questions? Any problem in the script? You can type the line of the script. I can again explain you, because for doing any data mining technique, okay, how to read data from the different databases. There are lots of the databases we can use in R, like SQL database, MySQL database, Oracle database, MongoDB database. For that, you require different packages. Okay, you have to, if you want to directly use the data set from the databases, you require some packages. And using that package, you can extract the data in the form of the data frame. But it is compulsory that all the data set that you are going to use in R must be in the form of the data frame. Data frame means in the form of the rows and columns. If your data set is not in the form of the row and columns, and you cannot convert your databases in the form of the data frame, then you cannot use in R. You can directly use the data set from the online data sources also. But for that also you require some different packages. Okay, that is possible that I cover in next session, that how you can use a MySQL or the Oracle data set. But that it requires a compatibility of both the software, because both softwares are different. Okay, what do you mean by package? You can see this. These are the different packages. Packages means inbuilt set of libraries that is that help us to do a complex task in a very less efforts, and that are inbuilt. Some are inbuilt, some are you can install on the basis of your requirement, and that are free. Means this is the open source software. It depends on your requirement, what you want to do. For example, if you want to use some inbuilt data sets, then there is, for example, if you see here, CA tools. These are used for the ROC UC curve. So when we are evaluating our data mining models, at that time we require some specialized curve. And for that curve, we require this package. If you don't want to use, you cannot use. Okay. For example, if you are performing a cluster analysis, for that you require a cluster. If in your R this is already available, you don't need to install. But if it is not available, then you can install. Okay. And for installation also, there is a two methods. Either you can use install that from the web sources, that is a CRAN repository, that is an online repository of R. You can install directly from there. Also, if you already installed any zip file in your system, you can use that file also. But it requires a direct internet connection, means Wi-Fi connections to install. Okay. For means I can cover that in the next lectures. Means if we required anything, then how we can install. Mostly packages that we required for the data mining, for basic data mining, that are already installed in our R. We don't need to install. And if that package installed, you can find that package here only. And if you want to use, you have to just click on this. You can see this library is used. Okay. Any more questions? If you are loading, you can see this is a loading. And if you are unloading, you can see this detach. There is one question that for data mining normality is not important. I cannot say it is always true. Data in data mining, we if our data set is a normal, then it is good, because for normal data set, I can say that better knowledges are expected. But for all data set, it is not important. It depends on data. Means normalization is required or not required. We don't means no mention of the SQL or other data sets. So basically, we have to first establish a connection with our databases. For example, if you are running a SQL, we are running a SQL in MySQL server that requires one source means port number. So we have to connect that port in our R script, and after that we can make a connection. We have to find out what is the port number where we are using that databases. Okay, that if possible, I can cover in the next lecture. Means at least one database. I want to give you a like example how to connect. Okay, but for the unstructured data like MongoDB and all data, we require data integration also, because we have to convert that unstructured data into a structured format. Okay, because data frame is a structured format, rows and columns. There is a no connection with normalization and missing values. Okay, so basically, missing value is also a part of data cleaning. Normalization is also part of data cleaning. It might be possible your data is normal, but there is a missing value. So you have to replace this missing value with either mean, median, or mode. And it might be possible there is a no missing values, but data is not normal. In that case, you don't have to replace missing value. You have to directly do the normalization. Okay. So it all depends on the data, what type of data cleaning you have to do. And if data is clean for all the from all the aspects, then you don't require data clean. You directly do data mining. Sure, I will share. I will share all the codes and as well as the PPT for your reference. Okay. Any more queries?
So I think we can wind up today's session, ma'am. Yeah.
Okay.
Is it our, ma'am, everything for what you planning to play?
Yeah. This is all things covered from as per my plan.
Yeah, fine. Yeah. So tomorrow we can meet at the same time.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, thank you everyone. See you tomorrow and good night. Ma'am, if possible, you just share the script as a single file.
Okay, 1 minute. I can.
Yeah, you can post it in the
file. So I already shares all the files. Okay. And you can try for all the different data sets that I already given to you. Okay, because for next lecture also we have to first do, if required, we have to first do the data cleaning, and after that we have to use the data. Okay. Okay, sir.
Yes, madam. Fine.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. So thank you everyone. See you tomorrow. Good night. Bye.